with Charles Rosa, and actually his older brother Vincent was my best friend when he passed away. That's why I rock this. This is Chucky's fight. This is for like kids with. This is the organization they run now.
Oh, okay.
So it's like helps kids with substance abuse and things like that. So Charles's father, after Vincent passed away and Dominic passed away, which is Charles's two older brothers. So Charles Rosa is like my best friend.
Yeah.
And when he passed away, he went to Florida to get cleaned up, this, that, whatever. And with everything that was going on, Chucky started going into the water because he put their ashes in the ocean up in Seabrook. And that's a way for him to feel
connected to them, yeah.
And it was a great way to kind of, I don't know, feel, reconnect with them. And also, so what happened with that, he starts making, people start contacting him about kids with substance abuse because he's trying to help out and he's getting sober himself.
Yeah.
And now they start that organization and helping a bunch of people. And, but I don't know if it's because I love that name to begin with, and that has a tie to it.
It has ties to, yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd like to think that definitely was a reason why I kind of was really instilled to want to name him Dominic. Just family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I always loved that name.
Yeah.
Family.
But also like they're like family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And
Sweet.
Charles is a great fighter.
dude, that's my best boy growing up forever.
You can throw the headphones on. I'll help you be able to hear yourself. And
All right, hey, so Dom, listen. When we get started with this, don't do nothing out of control. Just eat your Slim Jim. Yeah.
There'll be some Pokemon packs in it for you after. If you
Exactly. There you go.
No, we'll buy some. We'll get some Pokemon stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome, son.
I'm the best. I'm the best.
Yeah, if you shut up.
Yeah, we got some pretty good guys in terms of like our media team, so they do a great job cutting stuff up, helping build a promotion.
Yeah, so it's not live. So if I, all right,
so
cool.
there will be a live portion,
I'm not worried about it.
and that's just on our TikTok. But
that's
the
just
video
so we
will
can
be
get the
recording.
video quality and recording
Sound
after.
quality sounds great. You guys did a great job in here. Dude. This is legit.
TikTok's already giving us recommendations.
What is happening? Sorry, that was loud. All right. Oh, it's not.
Where do
loud.
you?
I'm not doing that.
Are you guys gonna be recording and stuff? Do you want me?
Yeah, so there's the camera right there.
You're good right where you are. Wherever it's
that's
wide
perfect.
lens, wherever you're chilling, you're good.
And then we don't have to worry
So
about
you're gonna scooch that way a smidge.
TikTok.
There you go. Money. All right. We are here with Rico DiSciullo, UFC, Combat FC. Gonna be UFC. We're gonna interview him when he gets to the UFC too. Don't worry.
exactly.
All right. Yeah, right. Here we go. Let's get the drop.
Hey everybody, Tony from FRESHPULLZ here. Join me and the Fresh Fam on Friday, June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Mass. for Combat FC 1, a full fight card with some of the best talent in the MMA industry. Click the link tree in our bio to purchase tickets right now. Combat FC, powered by FRESHPULLZ.
What is going on, everybody? Bert here at FRESHPULLZ, here for Combat FC interview. We are here with the one and only Rico DiSciullo out of Peabody and Certified T. Certified T is going to be interviewing Mr. Rico, get some talking points in, so that way we can tell you all about his fight coming up.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Rico and the work that he's done, specifically in this area, so I'm pretty excited to get started. You ready to get started?
Me, yeah. Let's go. Let's do it. How we sounding over here on the mic? All right.
Perfect.
All right. Cool.
Just remember to speak into it sometimes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, nice and close. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. So let's sort of start from the beginning really quick for anybody who doesn't know you. And obviously we're in a pretty heavy fight area, but how did you get started with MMA?
Well, I mean, I did karate growing up as a kid, and that was a huge influence. And I always played, every sport I could. I was playing baseball, basketball, lacrosse, everything. And then I moved out to Somerville after high school for work, believe it or not. And I literally was going for a run and ran right into Sit Your Tongue, which was a block away. And everybody's ripping bags, hitting the bag. And I'm like, how did I miss this? You know what I mean? I literally waltzed in there. signed up probably a couple days later because I was, I just gravitated towards it, and
seems like
the
that
rest
was
a wrap.
Seems like that was a pretty good impulse decision by you to stop in.
Yeah, man, it was funny because I was literally going for a jog, and I, from karate and everything I did growing up, and a little bit of boxing, and once I saw it, it was like I just sucked into it,
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is you jumped in, you did some training, then you jumped into the amateur ranks, had a ton of amateur fights so that when you went pro, you were ready, and you've put together this pretty beautiful record. And then around that time is when we started hearing whispers about Dana White's Contender Series, right? So, like, how did that come together? Were you getting phone calls previously, or was it just that one phone call that said, all right, it's ready to go?
I mean, my pro debut was for Bellator. I had a first-round knockout, ended up, like, really vicious knockout, elbowed the dude. He was sleeping, left in a stretcher. It was pretty wild knockout, And from there, I just accumulated some wins and just kept trying to keep going. Whoever they put in front of me, we okay it. They show up, we fight. You know what I mean? And just kind of one after the next and keep it going. And then, you start getting a little bit of on a run, and you just hope that you get that call. You can't really, you don't know. I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah.
To be honest, I have no idea.
Yeah, because kind of dudes just pop up, right? So sometimes I see a guy, and the next thing I know, he's on Contender Series. I'm like, I don't know how it happens. It's just one call. Is there's a build up towards it? So I'm sure a lot of our listeners would have been sort of interested to see how that works, and it seems like it's just that call, right? You do the work, you get there, and did you hear the whispers?
Well, yeah, for sure. Like after a certain point, because as an amateur, I fought down in Florida for one of the biggest amateur tournaments there was, Rise of a Warrior. I cleaned up that tournament in like three fights, first all finishes, and then I made my pro debut, had some finishes, kept going. The big thing is like, as a fighter, I try not to focus on too far ahead, because realistically, you got to just think about continuously getting better, constantly getting better. Otherwise, I feel like it's just you're juggling too much. You get too ahead of yourself. Things can fall apart real quick. You just got to be, in the moment and continuously just trying to get better.
Speaking of the moment, how was that moment when you got that phone call?
It was great, man. It was great. But like I was ready for it. I was completely prepared for it. So I wasn't shocked. And I was ready for it. I was completely ready for the moment. It was weird because, people talk about how odd it is to fight with not a lot of people, and it was airy and it was quiet. I loved it. Anything that was awkward and a little bit edgy, I loved that. It was bugging people out. Oh, yeah. But honestly, man, that shit, I don't know. It's almost like I always fight at home or close to home or whatever for the most part. I want to be the bad guy sometimes, man. I want to be, you know what I mean? Like, and just because there's so many people that I love and care about that support me, and it's almost like another burden when I fight close all the time, but I'm so used to it now because I've been doing it forever. Yeah. But like there's something in me that just wants to be like, show up somewhere and be like, let me show you. Let me show you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, be the heel for absolutely.
I mean, once in a while.
Yeah,
I mean?
for sure. So you mentioned try not to look forward. Too much, right? Sometimes do you try to look backwards in regards to, there's two specific guys that you fought that have done really well for themselves. I think there's, the name is escaping me, Espinoza,
yep. He was my second or third fight professionally. And yeah, he's a really tough, scrappy, very quick, very strong kid out of Albuquerque, New Mexico as well, and he was actually in the UFC after I beat him. You know what I mean? I beat him. I think it was my second pro fight, and he popped out of nowhere. So here's what's happened with a lot of my pro fights, which I think is why I didn't get that big opportunity besides Contender. You know what I mean? Was a lot of these fights bail out like this. Like, so all my fights, I had to go up a weight class, fight short notice, take a risky fight. Those are almost worse. You know what I mean? Sometimes
for
it's
sure.
Like, shit, dude, I got to go up a weight class. Fight against a dude I didn't prepare for. This guy doesn't have much to lose. He's going to come in there slanging like a Jake Constant or someone like that. That's like, he's put some high-level guys on their asses with body shots. You know what I mean? The kid knows how, you know what I mean? Or people that, just random guys that you haven't prepped for that, just get thrown in front of you. But that's the thing is, that's why I specifically try not to worry too much about my opponent unless he's like a specific style of fighter, like if he's like a leg lock specialist or like a, just a collegiate wrestler. That's like that's how he fights.
Yeah, that's how he's gonna.
I pretty much just focus on leveling up myself in the gym weekly, every day, training, just getting better, putting it in. Just, you know what I mean? Boom. boom.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because as someone that doesn't know about the fighting scene as much, like just listening to Rick talk about how quickly someone can drop out, I'm like, how do these guys train for their opponent? And that's like, just like you said, I guess, and that makes sense to me now, because that was what I was thinking this whole time. Like, I'm a baseball guy, I'm a football guy, I'm a basketball guy. Like, I know training, I know planning, I'm a coach, I know these things. You can't really do that as a fighter right now because of how many people drop out and how quickly they drop out. It's not like the UFC right now where it's a little bit more permanent once you get a fight, more or less, unless
Even
something
then,
gets.
though,
Yeah,
even then though, the guys, you know what I mean, training camps are tough. You
Yeah.
put yourself through hell, you know what I mean? And you got to find that balance of how hard you're pushing, whether it's like sparring 3 to 4 times a week, or maybe just 1 or 2, or doing other things like hardcore wrestling. How many times, you know, you have to balance everything out so you get to the fight at least somewhat close to 100, because you're never really 100%. I mean,
Correct.
Me, I'm never even close. I've had the craziest things happen to me before fights, to the point where when it goes all good, I almost want something bad to happen. For
It's
real.
too good to be true. Yeah.
No, ask my coaches. Like, I've had my tonsils removed right before my Bellator debut, like 3 weeks. I was in the hospital for like a week. I ruptured when he was a baby. I was picking him up out of the tub for my Bellator debut, and I ruptured my so I had my tonsils removed. I ruptured the stitches. I ended up bleeding into my lungs, and it started filling up. And I didn't know, and then all of a sudden my mom sees my mouth bleeding because she happened to be at my house. She's like, "You gotta go to the hospital right now." Blah blah. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I all of a sudden I start fading out. Like, boom, 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 boom. By the time I got to the hospital, I couldn't talk because the blood
was filling up.
It hardened. It,
Yeah.
You're coagulating or whatever. And so the doctor is asking me, like, what's wrong? And I start talking like this. So I had to write down on a pad, and like 5 doctors come flying in. They shove a tube down my throat. My poor mother walks in the room, and I'm just puking blood.
Oh,
like a horror story, like a straight horror story. This is probably to the day 4 weeks to my pro debut. I just signed with Bellator. And I was like, fuck. No, it wasn't my pro debut. I'm sorry. It was my second fight against Marvin Maldonado. All right, so I had the no contest.
Yep, the no contest.
And
then you went back and beat him, right?
But that was the fight. So I went 3 rounds with him, so that was the fight. So after I lost like 15 pounds. I walked out of there, like out of the hospital, like a noodle. I remember walking into the gym, and it was a couple days before my fight, and my boy Rob Font is looking at me. He's like, "Yo, you all right, dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, my weight pretty much. I'm all good." He's like, "You still taking this fight?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely. We're taking this fight. I like the match. We're going." You know, it's a mindset at that point. I was already, you know, I fought him, you know, that time before, and I already, like, I don't know, I figured things out. And I was so convinced that I figured things out that I was like, I don't care. I'm taking this fight again. I have to. And after, like, the second round, I think they put up a stat. It was like, because he was just trying to wrestle me the whole time. So it was like 98 strikes to 5 going into the third round. Like, it was ridiculous.
Oh,
yeah.
But it was also like strikes like this because he's trying to wrestle. But I was putting on him. But he's tough, man. That's the thing. Durable dude. You know, he tried to implement his game plan with the wrestling and jiu-jitsu, but it just, you know, it didn't work out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've fought tough dudes pretty much across the board, and that's something I'll never understand is the mindset of a fighter. Even as somebody who's a fan, y'all are crazy. Y'all are willing to put yourselves in the fire.
Well, the thing is, it's the ultimate competition, right? So, like, in my eyes, I love competition, and the ultimate competition is, it's not, the reason why it is the ultimate competition in my eyes is there's nobody else out there. It's no team. Like, there is your team, their unit with you, but once you're in there, and it's just you and him, and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's all the work that you did do with your team and all the things that you did, but at the end of the day, you're responsible for the outcome. You know, that's it. Period. You done. You know.
And speaking of team, you got a pretty great team. Not just, you know, your normal gym. You do some strength training as well, some jiu-jitsu. You have trained with kind of the who's who when we're talking about guys who made it to the UFC, did well in the UFC, still doing well in the UFC. So whether that's Charles or whether that's Rob Font, who you named, you spent some time training with Calvin Cater as well, right? Yeah. So we're talking about guys who have gotten to the top of the rankings. been the best in the world, and those are the guys that you're training with. Those are the guys that you're seeing on a day-in-day-out basis.
Currently, right now, I'm training with mostly like the Kyle Bokniak and Tateki Matsuda out of Broadway Jiu-Jitsu, and we're all linked up together also at Eddie Alvarez's gym in Alvarez Family Boxing in Salem, which was awesome because,
Great gym.
Dude, I moved to Peabody, and I didn't realize he came back from Cali, so he was out in California, and I met him years ago at Sigatong in Boston. And just awesome dude, really, 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 really good striking coach, boxing mostly, but also, MMA, whatnot. And obviously the best, awesome striking coaches that sit. I've been there forever, for over a decade almost probably a decade when I met him. And then the fact that he moved back like 5 minutes down the road from my house is such a blessing, dude. It's like, because I drive from Peabody to Chelmsford for my strength and conditioning, which is at Skill of Strength with Mike Perry. And then I go from either there to Sigatong in Boston, which I've actually been pulled away a little bit from Sit. Not that I'm pulling away from them, but I've been there forever. So I'm taking only a couple days over there to try to get to the other places to balance out my training with like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, the other things, because I put so much focus on my striking for so long. And, that's the whole thing is you have to have all the pieces. You can't be, it's not the days of where you can be, a good striker and a good wrestler or a good boxer. And, no, you have to be good at jiu-jitsu. You have to be good at wrestling. You have to be good at judo. You have to be good at, you have to have it all. You have to have it all.
And those are at all different gyms you have to go to for that for the most part?
Well, I only go to, so my other gym is the strength and conditioning place I was telling you about. I don't do much training over there, like fighting-wise, but I do, like things that will apply in the fight for my training. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because he does, my coach, Mike Perry, he actually, over the past couple of years has been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu as well, so he understands. So it's actually really important now that he's been doing jiu-jitsu for the past couple of years, because he's like, holy shit, I've been burning these guys out too much. It's like, damn, they go to like 2 hours of jiu-jitsu, then they go to this, and it's like, oh my God, these programs sometimes. But it's awesome because now he knows how to peak you. He knows how to, you know what I mean? He's very, very aware. He's, all these guys that are my coaches are involved in it one way or the other, so they really know how to make the best of each fighter.
Yeah, it must be weird because you're in a situation where the guys that you've historically trained with have been some of the best in the world. So there's never a situation, I assume, where you go into a fight and you're like, this guy's going to show me some things I've never seen before that I'm not prepared for, right? It has to give you some confidence.
Especially right now, right, where I've trained with some of the best for so long, and then now me and Kyle Bokniak and Tateki, like Kyle right now he's signed. We flew out to. All right, it was New Orleans. Then it was So it was his last fight was for XMMA before he just got signed to PFL, and they just signed him to the PFL regular season.
Oh yeah,
for the $1 million contract, all that whatever. And dude, this kid has been just pumping away, and just going, and he's like. Anybody around him that's trained with him, work with him, dude, he's a stud. Workhorse. He's probably got, I think he's got like the best performance, something to do with like his lactic acid breakdown with his cardio at the UFC Performance Institute. Like the kid's a freak. You know what I'm saying? And me and him pushing each other. We have a similar mentality about how we approach fights, how we do things, how we go about training camp, and we're very similar. He's a little bit bigger, a little short, whatever, but very similar about how we approach fights and how we approach rounds and how we do things and training. So like me and him and Tateki and our coach John Clark over at Broadway Jiu-Jitsu, like his mind, the way he goes about fights and like strategizes and is very, very, very intelligent. He's a hands-on type, coach. Very, very, very intelligent about how he approaches fights and how he approaches training camps and what's going on. And oh man, I feel like I get all the pieces between everybody at SIT that has given me all the knowledge for years, Mark Delagrati and everybody over there.
Legend.
Oh, but my friend, my closest, dearest friend at this time, I've been with him forever. You know what I'm saying? And he just wants, at this point, the best part about him is he doesn't try to change fighters. He tries to bring the best out of them. Like he tries to mold them to what they already are naturally going to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because realistically in fights,
that's the best type of coaches.
As much as you train them, as much as you train somebody who's naturally a striker, you're going to resort to what you naturally want to do in fights. You're a wrestler, you're going to shoot, shit goes bad. It's just you always go back to what you do by nature, right? So what you got to do off that is you got to build different habits so that necessarily isn't the case, right? You got to know the fighter and you got to know how to make and mold and build them off of, for whatever situation, you can always adapt, you can always change, and you can always find a way to win, period. That's
I
it.
love that mindset because what we do see, for example, like wrestlers, right? They get caught with a strike, and it's panic
And
shooting.
then wrestle. And then
Exactly.
Wrestle. And then fake punch. And then wrestle.
Yep.
And then wrestle.
And it's like, no, panic shooting is the worst thing you can do
no.
in this situation. Exactly. So that is the best type of coach. And I think that's what I've seen just doing film study and stuff like that is that team, it's iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, especially with now, so I'll talk to about my boxing coach. Like, now that he's back over here, it's funny because everything, especially in this sport, goes full circle continuously. Over and over and over and over again. You work on something, then you work on something, you work on something, then you go back, and you do it again, and you keep on going, and you're just like, I feel like I continuously am just remolding the basics over and over, better and better, and not just the basics, obviously pulling out some stuff, but the majority of stuff is really just tightening everything up, getting it a little better, getting a little faster, getting a little stronger, a little bit more muscle memory, to the point where, like, when something happens, you don't think, you just boom, 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 boom. You're just doing it. Because a lot of times is when you're dog tired, last couple minutes of the round, you can't even think. You would think you're behind, you just lost that position, just lost. And now you can't get up for a minute, you just lost. If you can't do something, you know what I mean? Every position that you can't be on top of like that, you're losing. You know what I mean? And that's what's crazy about MMA is, like, you have to constantly be able to adapt to every situation all the time, you know?
Yeah, and I've seen that sort of evolution. So early on in your fights, always been a great striker. But later on, in some of the more recent fights, you see some of that sharpening up that you're talking about where you're recognizing when to throw the straight shots as opposed to some of the looping shots and stuff like that. So you can definitely see it where that's all been refined, and the shots still hit, but
it's funny.
They're tighter.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you. But, like, there's been so many times in my fights, especially early on, where, like, everything I've done in training has worked great. We've done whatever, but I see, like, once I think someone's a little hurt, I get a little too crazy.
a little wild.
But listen, but there's nothing wrong with that if you know the situation at hand. Like, I'll take the risk for the reward when I know I can handle the repercussion.
Correct.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'll take the risk. I'll go if I know that whatever this dude brings me,
It ain't gonna be much.
It ain't gonna put me out or put me in harm's way to where it's gonna change the fight in a point where I can't win.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I'll take those risks all day.
Yeah.
All day. And that's the thing is, I think that's just my nature. And whenever I try to change
It's the killer mentality.
but when I try to change it, it's just not me. And I don't like. I've tried to change it like a couple times, and it just wasn't. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
So
and
now
that makes you a
it's
fan
about
favorite as well,
tightening
though.
things up, though. So now here's where we go. It's like, all right, keep that same type of mindset, but just tighten things up. Bring, same type. Know when to go, know when to press the pedal, know when to fake it, bring it back, go again. You know what I mean? All the little bit of critiquing and just, tightening things up is going to make a big difference in these next couple fights for me. And I really, truly believe that, because I know I've been putting in the work. There's no question. I've been putting in the work 1,010%, and I've completely committed, So, and at this point, I gotta apply what I've been doing in the gym to the fight, and everything will take care of itself.
Yeah, and I think you're right there, right? So I'm going to go on to a little subject that many people might not know about, and it's a little more morbid, should we say. I'm going to talk about the knee injury. Just real quick. Okay. I didn't know where that I didn't know where that necessarily was, because normally that would be a nightmare scenario. And I'm not a doctor, but from everything I heard about it, it was pretty freaking rough. But it happened at a time right before COVID.
So listen to this. So it came back right after I was working during COVID up in New Hampshire doing construction, whatever, blah, blah, getting, losing my like gaining weight, being not fucking being able to train and getting kicked out of gyms. My gym in Somerville was closed. Trying to go to my shout out to Rob Font, dude, giving me privates to like solo, trying to just get me back in the gym, and then he kicked us both, kicked me out of there over it. And it's nothing to do with the coach. It was over at Gentle Art Dojo that used to be Phoenix up in Chelmsford. It had nothing to do with the coach. It's just they kicked us out, dude. And he could only have certain people, and it's like Rob was holding me down, trying to get do pad work with me, get me back. He's like, we got to get you back. Well, I'm like, yes, let's go. I couldn't even fucking train, And it was just driving me nuts. And like, it really it was like burning my soul, man. It's like I need to be back, and I need to, I knew I didn't get that out of me yet, not even close. So, I started bouncing around. Luckily, skill of strength. I just started going over there training, and then Broadway was awesome because Broadway is downstairs. You know what I mean? Low key, undercover gym, no windows, and fucking. He did it really smart, the right way. He separated people, made them check in, do the whole protocol that you had to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we worked, man. We worked, and I got back at it, and I was like, yes. Like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out before my next fight, my coach was right there. John Clark was right there. I'm on top of somebody, and I'm just knee cutting, and I put my leg down. It was already slipping out. My knee was already a mess for a long, long time, and I'd always every now and then kind of pop it back in, but it was it was already had major micro tears, major cartilage, and all types of things going on. But I backed out. It wasn't even anything big. I did a knee slice, come back, and then I just said like crunch, not snap, like it was like and then I tried to straighten out my leg. I couldn't even straighten it. So I had a meniscal bucket tear, they call it. So what happens is your meniscus flips. It splits so bad that it flips upside down, like. Almost like wraps backwards, so that's why they call it. It looks like a bucket handle. That's why they call it a bucket tear.
Yeah.
And so it completely tore, flipped upside down, and I couldn't even straighten my knee out like this. Couldn't go back. Long story short, I talked to my surgeon, which is Dr. Dave, that I used to train with at Sit Your Tongue. Listen to this. This guy is the man. All right. He came into Sit years ago, and then he started. He's like, "Oh, I want to make a run at amateurs and maybe get a title." This guy's a very, very athletic dude, but he's a knee and he's a knee surgeon specialist. Yeah. And we're like, all right, whatever. He wins his first fight. I'm like, all right. I start training. Like, I'm one of the dudes that he trained with all the time. And it was so awesome because we got him up to those 4 or 5 fights, and he won the title, and that was it. His wife's like, "No more, you're done."
You're a knee surgeon.
He's like, "What are you doing?"
Something happens to your hand. Yeah,
I remember one day him reading us a text like, "Oh man, this is good. I gotta win this and be out of here," because my wife's ripping me like, "You're a doctor. What are you doing? You break your hands." But what a stud, right? Anyway, so he's the doctor that did my surgery. And he put in, so they use anchors. So he's like, all right, here's the deal. Your meniscus is completely bucket tear, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try to reattach it completely. It's going to take a little longer to get him back from, but it's going to save your ACL and MCL, which is like everything.
Yeah.
Right? So, and if it goes well and your body reacts, your knee will come back 100%, like pretty much 100%. So he does the surgery, whatever, blah, blah. He usually puts in 2 anchors for that type of surgery. He put 6 anchors in my knee. All right? Everything healed perfect. Yes. Like, I got so lucky. I felt so, like, the coming back, though, like, I call him up, I'm like, dude, I'm in fucking so much, but what did you do to me? I'm in so much pain. I'm like, I got no painkillers. I'm like, what the hell is going on? He's like, I know. I had to put in, I did a lot in there. But listen, ride it out. Everything looks like it's healing good. And I promise it's gonna be worth it. And it was the best thing I did because I'm honestly, my knee's been better than it's been in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna knock on wood. In this game, I've been lucky. I've been blessed. You know, I mean, I've never got a concussion. The only damage I've ever gotten to a fight was getting cut once. And that's it. Like I've really been minimal damage. So it's like. Even training, broken toes, broken nose. I broke my nose a million times.
Yeah.
Whatever. Who needs a nose? but you know what I'm saying? Like other than that, I've been blessed with that. So
yeah, and
take a bunch of broken noses over a bunch of concussions.
Oh, this thing changes like it was like this last week. Who was it? Yeah, Kyle. Now it's which way is it going? This
it's a little out.
Yeah, Kyle smoked me last week, motherfucker. True story, though. True story. I'm like, Coach, which way is it? Kyle me and him were doing MMA rounds, and we both split. I think I sprawled out, went for an uppercut. He caught me with the overhand, and I backed up. And I'm like, oh, he's like, oh, you're right. I'm like, oh shit, is it broke? Like, it's bleeding. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. No, this thing's got
yeah, you might have straightened it out. Yeah.
And then I look at my coach. I'm like, which way is it going? He's like, it's a little more this way now. I'm like, is it bleeding? No, we're good. All right, back to it. Like right back to it. No bullshit. But, that's how it is.
Yeah, it seems like your mentality.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You gotta
keep going.
That's how you gotta be.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get to the highest level, shit can't phase you. once you phase, you're done. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to get through those moments, and it's like that. If once you start dwelling on it, once you start, what good comes out of it?
That's the thing. Every decision you have to make is split second.
That's why it's instilled in you, drilling. The way you train, everything you do, it's gotta be. Everything's gotta be like. That's a perfect example of why I did that. It's because all right, this happens in the fight. Oh shit! Good. Oh, bang! Right back to it. Let's go. Yeah. He was more like, "Oh shit, you all right?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. We're good. It's not broken. We're all right. It might be fractured. Whatever. We're okay." No, but really, you gotta be prepared for that mentally before you even go into the rounds. Like, otherwise, what are you prepping for? You're not prepping the right way.
Yeah. And you got an opportunity to test out that knee.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't last.
Yeah,
too
that was
long.
I was. It's funny too because that last fight kind of. I don't want to say it bummed me out. It didn't. I was so happy to fight.
That's what I was going to ask.
I was off for 4 years. You know what I mean? But like, it's not the matchup we wanted. We went through like 5 other guys, 6 other guys. And it was just like, and that's happened to me before. But you know what? My coach was like, "Listen, you've been out for." Honestly, the weight cut was harder because I didn't cut weight in 4 years, and I almost like. My body just wasn't ready to. Now I'm already walking around 10 pounds lighter than I was for the last. You know what I mean? My body's like, it's boom. Yeah. Oh, this is what we're doing again. Right back to it. And now you're training every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Okay, and it's just like cliche to say it. It's like riding a bike. I've been doing it long enough for me. It's like riding a bike.
2-3 times a day. I remember you saying that on text message. That's how many times? 2-3 times a day.
Yeah,
you're hitting some type of gym activity.
Absolutely. This close to the fight, absolutely have to.
When does that slow down?
Well, it starts to it slows down pretty much now. I'm 2 weeks out, but I've been grinding since the last one. You know what I mean? And me, Kyle, we go on a mission right now. You know what I mean? Techie, we're all the guys that I train with. We're all we're on missions. We're going all out till we're done. And I'm not close to done. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna try to, do everything I can to keep going till I don't want to do it.
Yeah, and this seems like it should be a launching pad for you with this upcoming fight in 2 weeks. So just real quick, because there were a lot of things that I saw, but I had a question about like picking fights and if there's anything specifically that you prefer. So I'm assuming that you don't get too involved in picking your fights. But when I look at film study, great leg kicks. You've damaged so many people to the body. It's ridiculous. Like those body shots are murderous. Like you need to go back.
Shit in all of sports, man.
Absolutely.
Like go to that body and see how they react, and you'll see everything, man.
His uppercut to the body is disgusting. If you see where this thing comes from, and when it lands, you can immediately see.
About like Rise of the Warrior, because I don't get the best footage. But yes, go to the body. Go to the body.
Vicious. But he's slick on the ground. He's won a bunch of times by submission.
I got a Peruvian necktie finish.
Yeah, which is super
that was actually submission of the year in 2017.
Really?
Yeah. For Access TV and that little, whatever promotions are fighting out of them. But I mean, it's kind of cool. It's cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. And outside of the UFC games, like the actual like UFC 3 and UFC 4 games, I had never seen a Peruvian necktie actually done. So it's something that you just don't see. So he's definitely slick on the ground. Good grappler. Is there a certain type of matchup that you prefer, even though you're not picking your opponent?
Honestly, my whole career, I don't think about that at all. I really don't. Because once I get the person, then I start thinking about it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm gonna get a small wrestler. Guy just wants it, so I'm gonna lower my stance. I'm gonna get wider. Certain things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay away from those big loopy hooks. I don't want him getting under me and pulling me in and sucking me into his game. I'm gonna make sure I keep at range when he comes in. I want it to be timed and precision so I can counter. You know what I mean? It's things like that. Or I don't know, really, really long, rangy guy. A lot of more stand-up fakes. It's just things that you got to do to break down each fight. But I ain't trying to focus so much. I know how to break down each opponent, so I kind of just focus on me getting better. And when the opportunity comes, then either my coaches will be like, all right, this is the guy you're fighting. This is his style. This is what we got to work on. Let's do it. Boom. That's it.
Is it like other sports? Do you watch game film? Do you watch watch his fights?
So some guys, listen to this. So a lot of guys are kind of bugged out. Like they don't like watching their opponents fight. It gets in their head a lot. And I'm Like, you're gonna fight this dude one way or the other. You better watch him. You better watch his habits. You better watch that shit.
That's what
I couldn't understand that, but a lot of them were good fighters. They just kind of everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different,
Okay.
you know. But I think, come on, I think especially the higher levels you get, you have to know people's habits, what they're doing, what they want to do.
Tendencies.
Like, come on, you're doing yourself a disservice otherwise.
Yeah, the information's there.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, if you're not going to take it, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was very curious because I was like, man, there's no part of his game. So when I look at these fights, nowhere near a fighter, but I try to put myself in the shoes of your opponent. I'm like, what would benefit me most against Rico? And I'm like, I don't know, man. So I'm going to ask him what he prefers, if there's anything that he does prefer, because you can end up in a bad situation no matter what. So I was very interested in if there was like a preferred fight. Either way, your fights seem to all be extremely interesting. I don't think you've had a boring fight.
I'm gonna make it a fight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it a fight. Whether you don't have a choice.
Yep.
Yeah, but not for real. Like I'm telling you, I'm gonna make it a fight. There might be times in the fight where I'm setting things up and I'm whatever, blah blah blah. But there will always be plenty of moments in that fight where it's a fight, a real fight.
I can't wait.
So when you look at your style, right? So you're a cardio guy in terms of you push the pace of the fight, but you're also a counterpuncher
Yeah, right.
who works well at range.
You know your stuff.
And thank you.
I told you by the
your
end of this,
stuff.
you're going to know how much he knows, yeah.
So how do those two things, because there have only been a couple of fighters that I've seen that have used that really
I'm
well.
impressed.
Thank you. There have only been a couple of fighters that
Joe
I've
and
seen
Rick
that
said
have,
as they walked out, too.
that have used that really well, because you can only do sort of one thing in theory
Not
at once.
necessarily angles, baby.
Yeah, and
Angles, footwork. It's all about you controlling the dance, right? It's a fight, right? You want to control it. If you're controlling it, you're winning, right? How do you do that? You do that by how you do that. You know?
yeah, it was a very interesting thing to see, because I'm like, oh man, he's gonna walk
It
into
depends.
shots.
Every
he's
fight's
walk-
going to be different.
Yeah, yeah.
Every fight, you have to approach it differently. If not, you figure it out. And once you figure it out, you're beatable. Don't be figured out.
Don't be beatable.
Don't be beatable. Exactly.
2 weeks from today, June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Fights start at 7 p.m. We have Rico DiSciullo in the box. He is fighting, I don't know his first name, Dela Cruz.
Gareth De La Cruz, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and what should be a great fight. So, just really quick, I want to talk about your age.
Hold on 1 second before we get into that. I want to be respectful of your time. Do you have a time frame that we want to? Okay, I just want to be.
Perfect. So, you're 35 now.
Yep.
Right? And we were talking earlier.
Shout out to Big Al, too, who just got the W for the Celtics at 35 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
What a game.
What a game.
What a game.
And that's honestly a great point, because we were talking earlier with one of the guys here. 15 years ago, 35 was past your prime in fighting. But now you haven't taken any damage in years. You're 35. I wrote down a couple of the guys here that are in the top 10 in the bantamweight division in the UFC. Jose Aldo, 35. Rob Font, 34. TJ Dillashaw, 36. Dominic Cruz, 37. So
And that's at bantamweight. If you go up weight classes, they're even better. Like
Yeah.
where's Glover Teixeira? He's in his 40s.
yeah, he's at 205.
Man.
He's 43 years old.
Yeah, but the thing is, especially now with the sport being so much, there's so much knowledge. Like, you have to put the time in, and it takes time. And honestly, I started mad late. My first pro fight, I think I was in my I was 22, 23. I don't know, 23, I think. You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of like kids growing up on jiu-jitsu now, growing up on wrestling. I did karate and boxing. I had some other martial arts skills, but like, you can go to a gym nowadays and you can get top quality judo, top quality jiu-jitsu, top quality wrestling, in one to two gyms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the same as it used to be, where you'd have to bounce around from place to place, and it was very hard to get that type of training, So, the sport's evolved, and you got to evolve with it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's cool because when we were talking about it, I said he could just be moving into his prime, which is...
I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Right now, this is like, I'm honestly, I truly... And I'm not just saying that. I know my body. I know myself. I know what I've been through. Like, I know I'm like at the very beginning of a serious prime push.
That was
Let's
a
go.
question I was going to have when we got to this little part is, obviously no one knows their body like themselves.
Yeah.
And the way you were just talking about the knee surgery and the way you feel and the way you're walking about yourself, you feeling like the best you've ever been?
Absolutely. And the biggest thing is, too, like, I wasn't the smartest about how I went about weight cuts, how I did things. You know, it takes time to learn, and I did it a lot on my own at the beginning. Now I got people around me that know what they're doing. I watch Kyle Tech and, you know, everybody else that over the years I've seen do it. Like, Tateki Matsuda is a wizard. You got any question on anything, you know, anything that has to do with, like, sports medicine or nutrition, that kid knows everything. And he also got his own damn clothing line. I'm rocking the sweatshirt right now. I love it. He just went out. He just came back from Sweden, I think he was. This kid is, but I met him. I gotta give a shout out to Tech, because I met this kid at Sityatong over like 12 years ago when he moved from Japan. He was living in the basement, going to school at Salem State without telling anybody. Could barely even speak English.
Oh, he's Japanese.
Japanese,
Oh,
yeah.
Konnichiwa watashi wa.
Oh, yeah.
Birthdays. Hajimemashite. Dojo yoroshiku onegai sumash. What? For when we tag you in this later.
Hey.
Yo, did you hear that, Tech? I don't know what the fuck he said. I hope it was good, though.
It was.
But, yo, like, my man since forever, you know what I mean? And that's how we got such a good relationship, is because, you know, we're both around the same weight class. You know, I was bantamweight. He actually made his debut in the UFC. I think he might even be, like, the first Japanese person in the UFC, maybe. Anyway.
One of the first, yeah, for sure.
One of the very first, for sure. I think he made his debut at 25 or 35. I know he bounced down to 25 for a little bit. But either way, we were always training around the same weight, so it was me and him all the time. You know what I mean? He was like the guy at the gym. You know, he was one of the best at that age, you know, at that time. Him and Andreas Judy. Another shout out to him, dude. He's a beast. Muay Thai guy. You know what I mean? These guys have been in the gym forever, and it's just I've been training. I've known him literally since he was literally living in the basement down there, and kid's been killing it ever since, dude. Non-stop martial arts, doing everything else he's doing, and just like, you know, just an incredible person. Like, he got his purple belt in Brazil. Like, this is before I even knew what jiu-jitsu was. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I had a lot of really good influences early on, and then started picking up a little bit, and then starting to really, like, oh, okay, this is why, you know what I mean? Okay, the guys that have been doing it longer know more. You know, It's just experience, period. And I'm that guy now. You know?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be in. So outside of fighting, because obviously it's what you put your heart into, and I've heard you say a couple times how much you truly love the fight game, but you also like golf.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I love golf. I got into golf from fighting.
So, wait, okay, no, you have to explain that to me. How do you get into golf from, actually, I think I have an idea. Yeah. No, go ahead.
So I was a mad dog. I was like a sponsored, like, skateboarder, snowboarder. I used to do like rodeo flips over buses and shit. I was like a wild snowboarder. You know what I mean? I'd do competitions and this, that, whatever. Sponsored by like a local shop for skateboard and nothing crazy. But, you know,
It's amazing how athletic people are.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Like, when you hear about people, like, at the professional level, as he is, like, just talk about their athletic ability. It's the silliest. I used to just flip over buses.
Straight up,
like,
no bullshit. Right. I got videos from like 2000 of me doing rodeo flips over school buses. I go snowboarding now, and I'm like, fuck this. I'm out. For real. It's been a bit. I've been fighting, you know what I mean? But
sorry, go ahead.
I got into golf because, like, so I was dirt biking a lot, and you know, I dirt bike with him, just something for us to do, whatever, blah, blah, but I can't get hurt before fights, you know, so I can't be doing dangerous stuff. I'd be you know what I was doing a lot of? I was playing ball, and I was so worried about rolling my ankles and getting hurt, and I was like, I'm an athlete. I love doing athletic stuff, so my boys
and you can't shut the competitive switch off.
Dude, it's not even that. It's just what I do. Like, I'd rather be doing that than, you know, anything else, really. It's just what I love. It's just it's that simple. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're doing something like activity for competition. I'm in.
Yes.
Period. Done. That's it. Done. You know, I don't even know what it is. I learned how to play bocce the other day. I'm putting a bocce course in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
For real, though. And, but yeah, so, you know, golf, the thing about I love golf, all right? Because at the beginning, everybody sucks. I don't care who you are. 99.9%, you suck so goddamn bad, man. And it brings you back for something. You hit two good shots, you're like, damn, what if I could do that every time? This is a simple game. Put the ball in the hole. But it brings that competitive spirit out, because you can't beat the game if you think about it. You're only beating yourself.
You cannot.
That's it. The score at the end of it is what it is. So that's why dude, this kid will. embarrass me even every now and then. I had him out on the course since he was like 3 years old. And the funniest thing I've noticed about little kids is they're so little that the clubs, when they're first getting going, if they have good hand-eye coordination, the clubs are so like big for them, they can't really do the right posture. So what they do is they wrap it around themselves, and then like inertia brings it back. Like all of a sudden, if he can make contact, boom, and his swing looks great. And I was like, what the hell just happened? This kid's got a baby draw. I was like, what? What is going on, dude? He just hit it 75 yards. I'm like, get out of here, dude. I know kids that will swing 3 times before they hit the ball.
Yeah. And that's the craziest thing about golf and why I've fallen absolutely head over heels in love with it.
It's
like
torture at the beginning, though,
it's
isn't
torture.
it?
Oh, at the beginning, even once you start getting good, it's still
Yeah.
torture because you're like, I can get better.
See,
I keep missing this putt. I keep missing this shot. And like, I pick up sports relatively easily. I mean, I'm not the athlete you are, but I pick up sports relatively easy.
If you're a baseball guy, you have really good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
It's that really golf. The biggest thing I've learned about golf over the years is keep it simple, stupid. Right? Don't try to do too much. Make good contact. Keep it out there and give yourself some putts.
Nice
That's
and
it.
slow. Let the club do the work.
Every time you try to have a little extra ball spin. See you later. It's flying
Which
out.
sort of ties into what you said about fighting too, right?
yeah.
It's like trying to keep everything tight, stay composed, and that challenge of going out there and hey, if I get a little wild,
Yeah.
like
You
the
make a
sport
mistake,
will
it's not gonna
humble
hurt
me.
you.
And
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm sure it also probably helps you mentally too,
Yes.
just be able to reset every now and then.
Well, so it's like what I do on my rest day. But it's an active day. I walk 18 holes.
Yeah.
No, you
Yeah.
walk 18 holes. It's a good, little mini workout, whatever.
You're
Especially
doing
if you
over
go play
20,000
PB,
steps.
you're fucking
Yeah.
you're climbing mountains over there.
I don't walk a golf course. I'll drive the cart behind
I bring
you.
the car
Yeah.
and I drag the cooler with me.
I used to do that. Now I play golf, but I won't walk a
Yeah.
course.
Isn't it funny though? Because you first get into golf just to like
You're
go
drinking
have
your
fun
body
and
and
drink,
you're having a great
and then
time.
you're like, wait, I want to actually do good. And you stop
Yeah.
playing, and then it's like, I ain't even fucking
Yeah.
bringing beers out
Yeah.
here today.
Yeah.
All right, and then you get to like the ninth, and you're like, all right, let's have a go.
Shoot well
yeah.
right now.
No, but for real, I love golf because, like you were saying, it really does apply. And I hate to say it, like people are like, golf brings out. It has all these you see it. You watch PGA now. Now I'm watching golf. At this point. That's how much I like it.
Yeah.
Like you learn life lessons. You really kind of do. Now that I'm with my son, I bring him out there like not to get frustrated. Keep your head in the game. You make a mistake, all right. Now you got to focus on the next. It's all about the next best shot. Like everything, certain things that your composure. How when you make a mistake, how you react off your mistakes is everything.
I'm glad you bring that up because that's my favorite thing about golf is my dad got me into it, and my dad has never been so patient with me in my entire life than when I'm on the golf course.
That's impressive.
Anywhere else,
That's impressive.
It's frustrating, it's yelling, we're screaming, we're getting into arguments.
Yeah.
On the golf course, it's like, listen, you're frustrated, relax, calm down. It's
Because
in your
he's
head,
relating to the actual moment, and that's what it
Yeah.
is. Like he understands it. Like when you're doing something dumb and he doesn't understand why,
Yeah.
he's doing something on the golf course. He gets it. He's like, shit, I've been there.
That's like one of my favorite things. We go out every Sunday morning. We play the
Yeah.
back nine of Mount Hood at 6
Oh,
o'clock
it's awesome.
in the morning.
I love Mount Hood.
It's
I love
awesome.
Mount Hood.
Peabody Meadows is I
Yeah.
love Peabody Meadows.
Yeah.
I love that course. We'll have to go golfing after the
Hell
time.
yeah.
After
the
you
fight,
knock
'cause
out
I-
Dela
yeah,
Russo.
yeah. That's it. Let's go.
Dela Cruz.
So we got 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
2 weeks
Cut
from
that out,
today.
Nick, when I call it,
2
do
weeks
it.
from today.
2 weeks from today. So what does the next 2 weeks look like for you? Because I'm a terrible judge of weight, and I don't ask
Unless
fighters
it's a female.
So
Yeah, that's true. I don't ask fighters what their walk-around weight or anything is, and maybe it's just because of the reach and all of that, but you're a massive dude.
really, do you know what's funny? I don't think I am at all for this weight class. Maybe because I train with like all guys that cut weight that are fucking big anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever. But I'm walking around right now 155. I got to fight at 140.
Yeah.
So like my last fight, I think I fucked up is because I tried to stay heavier. So I was like purposely not eating cleaner because I was like I didn't want to like lose the weight and not gain it back, especially with like a short notice fight where might have even fought at 155. So like the last couple of days, that's what I'm saying. I was like, yo, I'm gonna fight at 135 or 155 because like once you don't have a fight within a week, people can't make the weight. It takes a while to diet and do things right and clean out your body. Once you have all that bullshit in you, the water won't come out. You know what I'm saying? So the only way you cut weight properly is by dieting properly. That's what people don't understand. They think you just they're like girls especially. You lost 10 pounds in a day? Yeah, I've been dieting for a fucking 2 months, and I eat nothing but super clean food, so that water weight comes off me like that, and like you know what I mean? Because you don't have sodium build up and bullshit, and but.
So that's a question that I have, because like I keep hearing him talk about it. I kept hearing Rick talk about it when I listen to the podcast of him, Rick, and Joe. I keep hearing about like the fighter weight cut and how like gruesome it is, and like they might not want to talk to you the night before and stuff because like how like what is that like? What is that? Is it a day? Is it 24 hours? Is it 48 hours?
It all depends for everybody in this situation how they do things. Like right now, I'm a lot smarter about things because I've done it a lot. I think this might be my, 29, 30, it's close to 30th fight. Close to 30 fights. Around there. It's got to be, right? Around there? So, I mean, I look at him like he knows he's a fucking guy.
I think it's 29.
Right, something like that. It's close. Never mind the unsanctioned ones that I had. So they're like 35, whatever. But,
60, who knows?
I've cut weight for 29 or 28 of them, whatever. But the cutting weight part is, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, especially at that elite level because, if you're like say the last couple pounds, if you didn't do the things to prep, your body is not prepped to cut the weight. So if your body's not prepped to cut the weight, what's happening is you're pulling water out of places you shouldn't be, like your organs, this, that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I had a bad weight cut one time, and I had cauliflower ear, like crazy cauliflower ear. And I cut weight, my ear was like, shoo! So that means like I'm pulling water out of my ear. Like, think about that. You know what I'm saying? I made the weight, no problem. But
how does that happen?
It wasn't even a terrible weight cut, but like I was getting close to the edge of like, all right, that's, you're going to start hurting your body. And I don't ever want to do that because I don't cut crazy weight. I diet. Yeah. I really don't. I only cut like 8 pounds.
It's a smart approach. That's way less than most.
So you have to try to diet like crazy, So I really try to focus. I mean, it's hard to do. Sometimes, it's a little bit off this, that, whatever. Especially now since when I didn't have that first weight cut in 4 years, that's where I messed up because I didn't cut weight in 4 years and I was thinking like I just fought. So I try to stay a little heavier just in case I was going to 55 or 40. I didn't know. I'm like, what if fights at 55? I want to be a little bigger. I want to get that weight back, I'm about to fight a wrestler that's walking around at 65, 175. I need to fucking be close to that weight. Yep. I was getting in my head a little bit about the weight and honestly maybe thinking of a little excuse to get a little heavier just in case. Just to be honest, because I knew it wasn't at 35 anymore. So I was like, all right, I can gain a couple pounds. We'll be all right. I made the weight, no problem, won the fight, things went well, and now my body's prepped. We'll be good. I'm ready to go.
So do you...
this fight actually is at a catch weight of 140.
Of 140, yeah. So do you have a weight cut buddy?
Yeah, well, I have kind of a team. Yeah, so not a buddy, but like, like I've like the last fight Kyle had and Tateki had, I was there with them and like I prepped them and we bring like the thermometer for the tubs. There's different ways of cutting weight between the saunas and this, that, whatever we have. Nowadays we all have like our own little sauna blanket things. They're like little, like it's like a sleeping bag, but it has a heater in it and it fucking, you cut weight, you just relax in between so you get your heart rate up a little bit. So you want to lose the weight by doing minimal things. Like back in the day, we used to fucking run on treadmills and sprint. Yeah. Like you're abusing your body. Yeah, you're fighting two fights. You're fighting 2 fights. Yeah. And now it's so much smarter the way, a lot of the guys are smarter about their approach with the diet and how you cut the weight. All you have to do is get your heart rate up and get hot. You don't have to be burning 1 million calories, running, sprinting, doing all these crazy things. You just get your body in a place where it's gonna sweat, and you can do that easily by just getting your heart rate up and staying warm, and you're gonna keep sweating, you don't have to, as long as you're hydrated properly and have a good diet. Otherwise, good luck to you if you don't have a good diet because that ain't gonna come out of you. It's gonna be a battle, for real.
And that's something that you probably learned through all that experience that you talk about and being around all those guys, because I know that for some of, maybe not anybody at your gym or anything, but some of those weight cuts are absolutely grueling, and everybody's have to go through.
Everybody's gone through a shitty one if you've had a certain amount of fights. You know what I mean? Because you fucked up, you did something wrong, and it just didn't work. Everybody's gone through it. Maybe you get an injury too, where you can't do things you're used to doing, like riding a bike or swim, whatever. There's been one of my fights. I hurt my knee, and the best thing I did, I couldn't run, and I couldn't do the other things that I usually do to burn some calories, and I swam. I went swimming, and it was awesome because it's so low on your body, but your cardio and the muscles. Swimming is awesome. If I could swim all the time, like I would. I'm telling you, underrated thing to do to prep your body for anything. Mm-hmm. Swimming is legit.
So are training camps different for you now than they were, let's say, 8 years ago?
They're smarter. Yeah, they're definitely smarter. They're more well prepared. They're more dialed into like, yeah, they're just all around better, really. I mean, whether it's
methodical.
yeah, and I'm putting in more work, because I can. Taking the rest the right way. You're just doing everything a little bit better.
Yeah, because I've heard it go both ways. I've heard it, for example, as you get up in age, it's tougher to cut weight at 34 than it is at 25 because your body wants to be heavier. But at the same time, you have the knowledge now that you didn't have I think 8 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's all about, everybody's different. Person to person, it's going to be different. You know what I mean? To me, honestly, I think it'll get easier because I'm smarter. You know what I mean? I was doing dumb things that I didn't okay. I think once you get into a rhythm of doing it, like me specifically when I was fighting amateur and like Rise of the Warrior, perfect example, I was fighting every other month. You know what I mean? It got to the point where, and then I just kept that going into pros and then just kept that going. So like I was fighting every 2 or 3 months. It was so easy. It was so easy. When I fought for the Contender, I had the best weight cut of my life. Like I remember being in there, jumping rope, running around like almost at weight, like ready to fight. You know what I mean? At 135, and the dude, they ended up bringing out homeboy in a stretcher, like not a stretcher, a golf guy, like making weight, but he made weight, and he must have rehydrated very well, whatever. But I'm just saying, everybody's different. You know what I mean? Like, I'm way smarter about how I approach, the weight cut and the fight and everything to do with the fight. It's just a little bit smarter, a little bit more thought out all the way around.
Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about the upcoming fight. Is it more important, to look great over a longer stretch, or are you looking to end this thing as quick as possible?
We'll see what we get. I'm down for whatever. I've prepped myself to go 5 rounds. We're only fighting 3. You know what I mean? It's a main event, but we already signed the contracts at 3 beforehand. So you know how a lot of organizations nowadays they do. If it's a main event, they do 5 rounds. And stuff, even if it's not a title fight. But I'm prepped for a war. You know what I mean? So I'm prepped to go 3 rounds. Ideally, I see something early on, and I capitalize and finish and go home and have some ice cream, whatever, have a beer, chill out, and on to the next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
wait for that next phone call.
Yeah, on to
right?
the next.
Which we're hoping is a pretty big phone call. So, do you think at this point you've put on that elusive perfect fight, or do you think that you're the most perfected version of yourself, or is there still things that you have that you feel like you haven't gotten an opportunity to show yet?
There's a million. That's why I'm still in this. That's why my soul craves this so bad. There's a million, zillion, jillion things that I've done in the gym 1,000 times that I haven't even showcased even a little bit. Like not even close. And that's the thing that drives me crazy. The people that have trained with me throughout the years, they know my potential. They know what I can do. And especially like even my family and friends, like they don't. They kind of think they do. They have no idea.
They haven't been in that gym.
They have no idea. They really don't. And they think they do because they've seen some things in fights and blah, blah, blah. But my people that have been in the gym with me from the like all my coaches, and I'm not, I'm bragging, but I've been putting in the work for a long time. And I've been training with some of the best guys in the world. And if I can pull this shit off some of the best guys in the world, I can, what are we
stopping
talking?
you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A 3rd round eye gouge.
Yeah.
First round. Too.
Yeah, it was early. It was early. So think we're just about done here, but I do have a question that I've been thinking about a little bit, just as a fight nerd.
Is it the last one? Because I love that question.
It is.
Sweet.
So you don't want to look past your opponent, right? But if I put you in this sort of magical scenario in which you could choose one current UFC bantamweight. And your job was to put on the best show you possibly could and to show off your skills.
This is kind of bad to say, though. I already know what I'm thinking.
I want to know, do you got a pen close by? Because I think I know who it is, but...
Oh, you got to write it down.
Yeah, I want to know so that there's no question,
in front of Rico, right
just in case we got the same one. Because I'm very curious, because I think there is one guy specifically that would give you the best opportunity to show off everything in your bag and put on an absolute show.
The pick is in.
See, it's so funny. I don't want to be weird. Like I don't think like that, but I really don't. But I don't even know. Oh man, is the one that I'm thinking about? It's almost not fair because I've trained with him before a bunch of times. It's not even like,
Ooh.
yeah. I almost feel bad saying it, but it is what it is. It's I'm trying to think who else though. Couple guys I've already trained with, because there's so many guys in the New England area that have made it and come back and been out and cut and whatever, and I've trained with them before.
I
So there's a
specifically
lot of
didn't
couple
choose
that-
somebody
Yeah.
from the area
So,
because I didn't
like put
think
it
you'd
this
go
way,
that
I've
way.
trained with like Andre Sukumtop before. He's been in the UFC. He's out. I've trained with Munoz. I'm Montino. I'm sorry, Montino.
Yeah, Montino, yeah.
He just got Jay Perrin's a guy I used to train with all the time. Jay
Real quick,
Perrin.
bring him back. Bring Chris back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But a lot of good guys in the area, and it's like I don't even
All right, we'll eliminate everybody from the area. So everybody from the area is out of this. We're not going to ruffle any feathers or anything. Choose one guy, ranked opponent, to show off, put your best foot forward, and put the world on notice.
Put the world on notice.
Oh, yeah.
Sugar Shane. What, you picked that? Get the fuck out of here.
That was my second pick.
Ooh!
That was my second pick. My first pick was actually Dominic Cruz.
Yeah,
Right? That's a fantastic
You know what's so fucking
matchup.
wild? You know what's so crazy about that? That's actually what it should have been. That's really what the pick should have been. But I was thinking more like I didn't want to put people on blast that are local because there's a couple people that I feel like I could fucking.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a
Of
few.
course.
But and it's so funny because I've been watching him my whole life. I know how he moves. I know his whole fuck. He don't put really a lot of power into his shots. Like you got to be the guy at a time, get in and go. And I think I could be that guy. And don't get me wrong, he's one of the best. Like,
Yeah,
he's
for
good.
sure. He's a
But
Hall
like
of
my
Famer.
style, I think matches up well with that style because I know the movement. I'm one of those guys that know that shit don't trick me. He fucking puts a lot of pizzazz in people's face and they don't know how to follow it. And they're just like, shot back. No.
Yep.
Walk into that. No, dude. And,
Yeah.
Make them. But that is a dream matchup.
That's-
and it would be a fucking battle. I
Yeah, oh,
know.
absolutely,
'Cause
for sure.
He's mentally. One thing I've met him a couple of times. He's mentally tough. Very, 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 like, you can tell he's a little arrogant, very, like, fucking my shit don't stink. But, every fighter, you got to have that. You have to have a little bit of that in you for sure. And, yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah,
It's so crazy.
that's the one for me because I was like,
think
a lot of that movement.
I know how he moves.
Yeah, a lot of that movement, and then I wonder what would happen if the fight gets into round 2 and round 3. The leg kicks with the movement, and
That's the thing is like all of his movement is like it's really just a fucking trick because he doesn't really set up for power shots. Like he almost like moves, bounces around and just tags you up and frustrates you, makes you jump, and then he'll fucking take you down. Then like it's really just he mind fucks you.
Yeah,
really,
100%.
And he just outworks you.
Exactly.
So it's like he makes people second guess themselves. And then he just keeps working.
Yeah.
So now when you're second guessing, he's working and you fucked up and you're behind, and now you're like, and then you do something dumb, take him down.
Yep.
You gotta stay
Exactly.
composed and stay in there with him.
that's the one I was playing out in my head because I was like, it's that he will feint those takedowns a lot.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes go for him.
Sometimes go for him.
He's very, very smart on his timing.
Yeah.
Very, very smart.
And I'm like, the cardio, I don't think that's a problem with you.
No.
The feinting the takedown with that range and your reach, uppercut might be coming. And I'm like, his set of skills versus that freaking Hall of Famer, that would be a matchup that would be like for the ages in terms of like if you were able to put your best foot forward, it would be in that fight.
So
I was
the
like,
thing
it's amazing.
I just spot on. I agree, and I think that with Sean O'Malley, I feel like the people haven't fought him correctly. Like nobody's fought him right. Everybody's fought, and don't get me wrong, he's very good. He's not like he's very skilled. Like everybody thinks like, oh, he's flashy, he's getting set up fights. No, he is talented, very good striker, very good movement, very fluid, smart about his range, his distance control, and how he lures you in and sets things up. But then again, there's ways to break that up. You know what I mean? And people don't break it up. They let him, you know what I mean? They let him dictate everything. Like you got to sometimes bully him also and then let him come into you. You know what I'm saying? That he just people just fight him at his range all day.
Correct. They
all
fight his
fucking
fight.
Day,
They
dude.
fight his fight.
It blows my mind.
And
that's kudos to him for making that happen.
correct, because that's not something that just
No,
happens.
he's making that happen.
Yeah, and what we said earlier, cardio king who pressures you, but also
pull you back.
we'll pull you back in and counterpunch you. And I'm like, that matchup would be amazing as well. So yeah, those are my two.
When he fought
Cheeto Vera?
No, when he fought
Chris Matinho?
And he showed like Matinho was tough as nails, dude. He just took shots, and like every now and then had some good flurries on him. The only thing was he didn't like pull back, lure him in. He was very like almost like
he was stalking him.
The whole time,
he was
the
zombie.
Same pace the whole time. There was never a time where he was like flash and then pull back.
No,
let him come in and
and you could see that pressure.
Even level changes.
No, none of that.
Even if you're not going 100% for the takedown, you got to throw those level changes in there. Drop their hands, make them respect it. Pretend like you're going 100 blasts for that single or double or whatever. Drop their hands. Now you can strike off of it, and then you can escape. There's things that you can do to start getting points and momentum and start changing the fight in your favor. And it's hard. Obviously, easier said than done.
Oh yeah,
especially when you're in there in those moments. But I mean, I guarantee he looks back at that fight. He's like, "Oh, I could have fought that fight a little different." He went in there on it with his pride.
Yeah,
he's fucking good for
Exactly.
He put on a show. He put on a show, and he shows that he's tough as nails.
Yeah.
But do you want to do that every time?
No, and I think you saw in moments that that Sean O'Malley was a little uncomfortable being sort of having his range closed. He was a little uncomfortable in certain situations, but like you said, there wasn't that other element where in most other fights, Sean O'Malley's really just dictating everything. And Chris Matinho brought a little bit out of him, and then obviously Cheeto Vera as well with the leg kicks. So
Cheeto's tough. So his match, his style is a lot. He's just a durable, tough, in your face type of dude. But what he does too. He's more methodical than you think.
Most people don't understand.
They don't understand that. He takes to give. You know what I'm saying? So he'll wear you down. Like look at when he fought Rob. He didn't take much damage.
No.
And it looked like Rob's pace was incredible.
It looked like he was getting absolutely pieced up.
But like by the end of the fight, dude, Chino looked fucking dude's tough, durable guy, big bantamweight.
Oh my God,
big bantamweight.
Oh yeah. Well, so that's all I got. I've gotten the fight nerd out of me. I love it. All worked out.
Me and him could get going for a minute.
Literally, you could do this for days.
I'll ask the fun part and see if this is even something that you want to answer before we end this. Is there a fight prediction for next Friday?
Next Friday, second round, TKO. And I'm not exactly sure how it's going to start, but it's going to be a finish.
Second round TKO.
TKO.
I love it. I love it. Rico, thank you very much for having. Thank you very much for coming in. We're really looking forward to pushing this and really getting your name out there and pushing this and making sure everybody's out there watching you. We're gonna be live on TikTok. We're gonna be pushing the UFC Fight Pass. We're gonna make sure everyone gets to watch this fight up close and personal. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. He told me your story. He told me everything that like happened, how close you were, and everything else. And I was like, we're gonna get to watch this kid so close.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
We're gonna be right there announcing it like we are now. We're gonna have our little roadcast, a couple mics sitting just like this on Facebook Live.
Be like, yo,
this is an opportunity that we
some blood, sweat, and tears.
We're looking forward to it.
I hope so. I hope I'm wiping some blood off my shoulder.
This is an opportunity we should not get the chance to have. So
why not? Why not? Yeah, you should.
No, not around here. This is not. We're not complaining. But when I heard that they had you on CombatFC,
he geeked out.
For their debut,
he geeked out.
I was like, this is insane.
It's gonna be fun. You know, I'm putting on a show.
Oh, 100%.
I'm coming.
100%. And I was like, this isn't even fair. Like, we shouldn't have this opportunity, but I'm grateful.
I've been watching who they've been putting on the card. It's going to be a fun fight.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
They said Rick's a matchmaking genius.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Yeah, and
that's what they're saying.
And the two fights I'm excited about most, obviously your fight, and then I really want to see what Sage Philippe has to bring in his fight, because I think that the two of you, sooner rather than later, are going to be household names, and otherwise, I apparently don't know anything about fighting.
I can tell,
I can't wait to see his write-ups. He's doing a write-up on each fight so we can promote it on the social media and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to promote them as they get closer. Obviously, you're going to be the last one promoted because you're the main event. We're going to start promoting this type of stuff already coming Monday on TikTok. But guys, that's Rico. Shriners Auditorium, June 17th, 7 o'clock. The main event.
That's right, baby.
We're excited to see it. All right, guys, we're out.
Peace. Everybody, Tony
that was awesome.
FreshPULLZ here. Join me and the Fresh Fam on Friday, June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Mass. for CombatFC 1, a full fight card with some of the best talent in the MMA industry. Click the link tree in our bio to purchase tickets right now. Combat FC, powered by Fresh Pulse.